The latest dev diary for Elite Dangerous Odyssey covered station interiors as well as a bunch of other things. Very recently, Frontier have provided more information, so in this video we're going to take a look at all of that. So then, I now have a bunch of new information on hand. The info in this video has come directly from Frontier in response to questions that have been passed on to them by myself, as well as a variety of other content creators and live streamers, so they got back to us with this information. Let's get into it then and go through the info. In terms of what types of planets players will be able to access on foot, this will include all currently landable planets and moons in Horizons. There will also be the additional worlds with the light atmospheres that will open up with Odyssey. All of these worlds will be explorable on foot. Whilst moving around on foot, you'll be able to see other players on the surface, which seems quite obvious, but it was a question that was asked, and I assume you will also be able to see on-foot players whilst you're in your ship as well. However, the answer to this wasn't entirely clear, so I'll try and get further clarification on that a little later. What we do know, however, is that players will be able to play the entire game on foot without once ever getting into a ship if they so choose. So this is an option and not something that is required, but the option is there should you want it. Apex is essentially a taxi service that will take you to all the areas where the service is available. It cannot, however, transport you deep into space where Apex hubs do not exist. Now, using the Apex service will not be an instant transfer from point to point. Frontier haven't yet revealed exactly how long the journey will take, but they are very clear that it will not be instant. Beyond that, there isn't any further information on this aspect just yet, so it leaves the question on how this will be presented to the player. The journey will take place on board an NPC ship. Players will sit in the crew seat, similar to how they currently do in multi-crew right now. You're about to experience the entire journey from this point of view until you arrive at your destination. In terms of the available suits that players can own, there will be 3 variations in total, and these then will follow the same 3 mentioned in the dev diary, a separate suit for each of the following: combat, exploration and scavenging. The suits will also be upgradable. Frontier stated that this will be occurring through various means but didn't go into specifics, although they did say upgrades will be earned or unlocked through gameplay. Regardless of which suit you choose, however, you will not be locked into it. Players are free to switch between suits, and suits will also be wearable inside your ship, SRV, as well as on foot. Suits are obviously just one type of new foot-related item. Others will include the various types of equipment in addition to weapons. So for those of you wondering if you'll be able to buy all of these with your current credits, the answer to that is a very clear no. A new form of trading will be introduced where new valuable items will be required for the trade. Moving on to the subjects of what to do on foot, obviously very little has been revealed on this so far. We know that it will be possible to explore and scan planets. Beyond that will be scavenging. This sounds like a main activity, and you can either scavenge directly by locating the wreckage yourself or by picking up a mission from a mission giver. With mission givers, you'll be able to negotiate your reward, and this will be based upon your reputation with the mission giver and how much they actually trust you. Once you have the mission, you'll be able to travel to the location there using your Apex or using the Apex transport, or you can travel there yourself. The choice is up to you. Scavenging missions take place inside and around wrecks. Here, the player will be able to find various items. The mission giver will want one of these, or the items that you find there that will be the requirement for the mission, and you'll have to actually return that item. But the rest of the items are actually yours to keep. It appears the players won't have magic inventory pockets, however, as items will need to be stored either in ships or on the SRV. I guess you'll be able to carry some of them yourselves. It wasn't expressly detailed exactly how that'll work, other than that the larger items will need to be stored in a vehicle. Everything will then be returned to the mission giver to hand in. You can claim your reward and then either keep or sell the additional items. Now, you'll have noticed there's also mission boards. We saw that in the dev diary. These are not entirely replacing the cockpit-based mission boards, which will also still be available whilst inside and on board your ship inside the stations. The mission boards are entirely separate to that. So, talking of the stations, we all know these are large. However, the hubs are designed in such a way that players will not be walking for 10, 20, 30 minutes or more simply to access your ship. The idea then appears to create immersive, fun and realistic environments without also forcing players to have to walk for ages and ages just to get from point to point. Beyond stations and settlements, Frontier were asked about the idea of large capital cities. To this, Frontier stated they have nothing to share at this time. This was also the same response about new SRV types. Now this might seem a little negative, but keep in mind that this is almost always how Frontier answer when they want to reveal something specific at a later date, so, I guess we'll see. In terms of the hubs themselves and variations on them, Polygon in an interview confirmed that there will be a total of 3 station interiors. How these work for ground-based settlements though is still unknown. There will be different types based upon their economy, but as for the total variations and how they break down in terms of their components, that's something that hasn't been specifically answered just yet. There's also been a pretty big question regarding a third person or third person on foot. Frontier have answered this. The answer to this is first person only. Now, as for NPCs, these guys will have a mixture of voice acting and some will be text-based. That's the answer we've got on that one. So that pretty much covers everything we've got so far, all the answers to the questions that were passed on to Frontier. Now, there's also another bit of information that came out a few days ago, and that is to do with Horizons. This, from the 27th of October, is going to be rolled into Elite, the base game version. So from that point on, there will only be one version of Elite for sale. If you purchase it, you will also get Horizons. This is also retroactive, so anyone who only has the Elite Dangerous, doesn't have Horizons, will be upgraded to Horizons entirely for free. And for everyone that purchases Horizons before the 27th of October, they will get a free pearlescent paint job that will be applicable to every single ship in the game. So there we have it then. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.